Yesterday I watched two women walk into the same coffee shop wearing almost identical outfits, black pants and white shirts, and one looked like she just rolled out of bed while the other looked like she had her life completely together. The difference had nothing to do with the clothes themselves or how much they cost. It came down to 7 tiny details that took less than 90 seconds total to execute, and most women completely miss every single one of them. I'm about to show you exactly what separates looking thrown together from looking polished, and none of it requires shopping or spending a dime. Hello my gorgeous friends. Welcome back to Glow at Any Age, where looking polished and put together has absolutely nothing to do with your bank account and everything to do with knowing the small details that make the massive difference. If this is your first time here, you have just found your people. We are all about practical, achievable style that works in real life for real women who have better things to do than spend hours getting ready. We focus on the tiny changes that create major impact because honestly, that's where all the magic happens. Today I am sharing the microscopic adjustments that will completely transform how polished you look, and I promise you already own everything you need to implement these immediately. Before we dive into these game-changing tiny details, I need you to hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. I share practical tips like this every single week that could genuinely change how you show up in the world, and missing even one video means missing information that could solve a problem you have been struggling with for years. Drop a comment right now telling me your biggest struggle with looking polished. Is it finding time in the morning? Not knowing what details matter? Feeling like you never look quite pulled together no matter what you wear? I read every single comment and your struggles directly inform what content I create for you. Here is something nobody talks about in the fashion world. The difference between looking sloppy and looking chic is almost never about the actual clothes you are wearing. It is about the tiny finishing details that most women either do not know about or think are too small to matter. These details are so subtle that most people cannot consciously identify them. They just know that some women always look put together while others wearing similar clothes look messy. What they are responding to unconsciously are these microscopic elements that signal care, attention, and intention. The beautiful thing about these tiny changes is that they cost nothing, they take almost no time, and they work with any style and any budget. You do not need new clothes. You do not need expensive accessories. You just need to know what actually matters and what does not. I am going to share 8 specific tiny changes that will make you look exponentially more chic and polished starting today. These are not theoretical. These are practical adjustments you can make before you walk out the door this morning. First up is the 30-second steam. The single fastest way to look more expensive and put together is wearing clothes with 0 wrinkles. Not perfectly pressed and starched like you are heading to a job interview. Just smooth and fresh looking instead of crumpled and slept in. Here is the reality. Wrinkled clothes make everything look cheap regardless of what you actually paid. A wrinkled designer blouse looks worse than a crisp Target shirt. Always. Without exception. The solution takes 30 seconds. Get a handheld steamer and steam your outfit while you are wearing it right before you leave the house. You do not need to steam every inch. Hit the front of your shirt, the sleeves if they are visible, and the front of your pants or skirt. 30 seconds maximum. If you do not have a steamer, hang your outfit in the bathroom while you shower. The steam will relax most wrinkles. Or throw your top in the dryer with a damp towel for 5 minutes while you do your makeup. This one tiny habit will make you look more polished than 90% of people around you because most people are walking around in wrinkled clothes without even noticing. You notice it unconsciously even if you cannot name it. Smooth fabric reads as put together and intentional. Wrinkled fabric reads as rushed and careless. Change 2 is the collar and cuff rule. Even if you do not have time to steam or iron your entire outfit, always make sure your collar and cuffs are crisp and wrinkle-free. These are the parts people see first and notice most. A perfectly pressed collar and smooth cuffs make your brain think the entire outfit is polished, even if the rest has a few wrinkles. It is a visual psychology trick that works every single time. Keep a small travel iron or travel steamer in your bathroom specifically for collars and cuffs. It takes less than 60 seconds to hit these spots, but the impact is enormous. This also applies to visible hems. If your pants or skirt hem is wrinkled and flipped up, it destroys the entire polished effect. Make sure hems are smooth and lying flat before you walk out. Next up is the shoe situation. Your shoes are sending a message about you whether you realize it or not. Scuffed, Dirty or worn-down shoes make everything else you are wearing look unkempt and careless. Here is the tiny change. Keep a shoe cleaning wipe or a soft cloth in your closet and wipe down your shoes before you put them on. Every single time. This takes 10 seconds and makes an outrageous difference. For leather shoes, keep a small container of neutral shoe cream and swipe it across scuffs and worn spots once a week. For sneakers, replace them when they start looking dingy. White sneakers especially need to stay actually white to look chic. Also check your heels. Worn-down heels make you look disheveled even if everything else is perfect. Get them replaced when they start showing wear. Costs about $15 and completely changes how your shoes look. People absolutely notice shoes. They might not consciously think about them, but dirty or damaged shoes register unconsciously as not quite together. Next up is the jewelry rule. Here is a tiny change that takes 5 seconds and makes you look infinitely more polished. Always wear earrings. Always. Even if you are just running to the grocery store or working from home. Earrings frame your face and make you look finished and intentional. Without them, you look unfinished and like you forgot something. It is that simple. They do not need to be big or fancy. Simple studs work perfectly. Small hoops are elegant. Delicate drops are lovely. The style does not matter. What matters is having something there. Keep a pair of go-to earrings that work with everything on your nightstand or bathroom counter, so you can grab them automatically. Make it as thoughtless as putting on your watch. This one tiny habit will change how polished you look more than almost anything else on this list. Next up is the metal matching secret. This is one most women miss completely. Match your metals. If you are wearing gold jewelry, wear gold or warm-toned accessories. If you are wearing silver jewelry, wear silver or cool-toned accessories. This means your watch, your rings, your necklace, your earrings, your belt buckle, your bag hardware, and your shoe details should all coordinate in the same metal family. Not necessarily identical, but in the same temperature. When your metals are all over the place, it looks chaotic and unintentional even though most people cannot consciously identify why. When your metals coordinate, it looks cohesive and deliberate. The easiest solution is to choose one metal as your signature and stick with it. Most of your accessories and jewelry should be either gold-toned or silver-toned, not a mix. This makes getting dressed infinitely easier because everything automatically coordinates. Before you walk out the door, do a full body check in a mirror. Not just the front. Turn around and check the back view. So many women look polished from the front and completely disheveled from behind. Check that your shirt is tucked evenly in the back, not bunched or pulled out on one side. Make sure your collar is lying flat in the back. Verify that your pants hem is not caught in your shoe or flipped up. Confirm that nothing is clinging to static or riding up. This 30-second check catches the little disasters that make you look careless. A tag sticking out, a seam twisted to the side, a hem caught oddly. These tiny things destroy an otherwise polished look. Also check your silhouette from the side. Does everything skim smoothly, or is something bunching or creating bulges? Sometimes a quick adjustment to your undergarments fixes everything. The next change. The less is more accessory trick. This is a tiny change that is actually about subtraction, not addition. Before you walk out the door, remove one accessory. If you put on a necklace, bracelet, earrings, and a scarf, take one off. Too many accessories looks try-hard and chaotic. The right amount looks intentional and chic. The guideline is 3 to 4 pieces maximum including your watch. This also applies to patterns and textures. If you are wearing a pattern top, solid bottom. If you are wearing a textured jacket, keep the rest simple. Too much visual information in one outfit reads as messy rather than interesting. The most chic women understand the power of restraint. They edit ruthlessly and let a few key pieces shine rather than throwing everything on at once. Quick pause here. If these tiny changes are clicking and you are realizing how many small details you have been missing, give this video a thumbs up right now. And comment below telling me which tiny change you are implementing immediately. I genuinely love hearing from you, and your engagement helps other women discover this information. Share this with a friend who always asks you for style advice because these details are the secret sauce nobody talks about. Next up is the finishing touch. The final tiny change that makes you smell as polished as you look. Always finish getting ready with one single spray of fragrance. Not a cloud. Not multiple spritzes. One spray in the air that you walk through. Fragrance is powerful. It creates an invisible aura that makes people unconsciously associate you with being put together and intentional. It is the final layer that completes the polished impression. It does not need to be expensive perfume. It just needs to be clean and pleasant. A light fresh scent works beautifully. The key is wearing it consistently so it becomes part of your signature. Spray it after you are completely dressed so it settles on your clothes as well as your skin. This makes it last longer and creates a more cohesive scent experience. People will not be able to identify why you seem more polished, but the subtle pleasant scent registers unconsciously as someone who has their act together. Next up is putting it all together. So here is what this looks like in real life when you put all 8 tiny changes together. You get dressed in your regular clothes, nothing fancy or expensive. Before you leave your bathroom, you steam the front of your outfit for 30 seconds. You hit your collar and cuffs with the iron to make them crisp. You wipe down your shoes quickly with a cloth. You grab your automatic earrings from your nightstand. You verify all your metal accessories match your jewelry. You do a full-body mirror check from all angles and adjust anything that is not sitting right. You remove one accessory if you are wearing too many. You spray 1 spritz of fragrance and walk through it. The entire routine takes less than 3 minutes total. 3 minutes for a transformation from looking okay to looking like you absolutely have your life together. These are not the things fashion magazines talk about because they cannot sell you products to fix them. These are the unsexy details that actually make the difference between looking sloppy and looking chic. I want you to understand something important. These tiny changes are not about being perfect or obsessing over details. They are about giving yourself the gift of showing up in the world looking like the capable, confident woman you are. When you look polished and put together, people treat you differently. You get better service. You receive more respect. Opportunities show up more easily. And most importantly, you feel better about yourself. It is not shallow or vain to care about these details. It is self-respect. It is telling the world that you value yourself enough to show up looking intentional. The beautiful thing is that none of this requires money, expensive clothes, or hours of time. It requires knowing what actually matters and having a simple routine that addresses those things. Let me tell you what not to do because I see these mistakes constantly. Do not obsess over having the perfect outfit, but ignore wrinkles and dirty shoes. Do not spend money on expensive clothes while your jewelry metals clash chaotically. Do not wear beautiful earrings but forget to check your back view in the mirror. The tiny details matter more than the big purchases. A woman in Target clothes who has mastered these 8 tiny changes will look more polished than a woman in designer clothes who ignores them. Also, do not make this complicated. These are simple, quick habits, not an elaborate beauty routine. The entire point is that they take minimal time for maximum impact. If you find yourself spending more than 5 minutes on these details combined, you are overthinking it. Let's bring it home. The 8 tiny changes that make you look chic and put together after 60 are steaming your clothes for 30 seconds, making sure collars and cuffs are crisp, wiping down your shoes before wearing them, always wearing earrings, matching your metal accessories, doing a full-body final check, removing 1 accessory if you are wearing too many, and finishing with 1 spray of fragrance. None of these cost money. All of them take seconds. Together they create a transformation that makes people wonder what your secret is. If this changed how you think about looking polished, please share it with every woman you know. Drop a comment telling me which tiny change you had never considered before. Subscribe if you have not already because I am sharing practical, actionable style information every single week. Keep glowing at any age and remember that looking chic and put together is not about what you wear. It is about the tiny finishing details that most people never learn.